James Cooley Show. It's your life. The James Cooley Show. It's your life. Doctor.
Hello, welcome to the James Cooley Show. It's your life, and I'm your host, Dr. James J.C. Cooley, and we got another fantastic show coming your way. And this show that we got today, I think it's going to have some type of resonance with each and every last one of us. And so I tell you, we got this absolutely fantastic doctor that's going to come and talk to us about how extreme weather changes causes pain or psychological whatever that we might have. You probably heard of the thing that especially in the South where I'm from, Tennessee, when the weather changes, they say, "Oh, my ankles are hurting or my knees are swollen." Well, we're gonna find out if we have some factual in that, because I do believe that the weather changes every now and then. And I tell you what, Todd, I want to bring the radio audience in this. Let's get this thing started.
It's Your Life is sponsored by James J.C. Cooley.
Life is a series of circles and cycles, phases and stages. These are your experiences that teach you the lessons of life. You can either ignore them or embrace them. Welcome to the James Cooley Show. It's your life. James is a motivational speaker, author, military veteran, and founder of the James Cooley Foundation. James is here to equip you to strive for greatness and to overcome adversity. It's time to get equipped today for the challenges of tomorrow. Now, here's the host of It's Your Life, James Cooley.
Hello, welcome to the James Cooley Show. It's your life. I'm Dr. James J.C. Cooley, and hey, Todd, my friend. Man, we got another absolutely fantastic show, my friend. And we're going to talk about...
I can't wait. Get your bag of popcorn ready.
Man, I think you need to grab about 5 or 6 bags of popcorn for this, man, because as you see, the weather is changing, and sometimes with the change of weather, it also brings certain type of conditions as it relate to pain, and as it relate to breathing, as it relate to sore muscles, knees and ankles. And, I tell you, we got this absolutely fantastic doctor here who's been on the show before, and he is such a fantastic guy. He deals with a whole lot of things, but primarily in pain. And his name is Dr. Joseph V. Pergolizzi. And I hope I didn't butcher his name too bad, but he'll correct me when he come on. And I'm excited about this show, Todd, and I'm excited about our radio listening audience, our television listening audience, our live stream audience. Wherever you are watching or listening to this show at today, if you want to be part of the conversation, all you have to do is two ways. You can pick up the phone, dial 1-866-577-2473, or if you're watching it on one of the live streaming networks or television, you can always go to the comments in YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook. You can always go to the comments and ask this great doc any questions that you want to ask him. So I want to tell you a little bit about this great man. Just like I said, he's been on the show before, and he's always come and bring us a lot of great knowledge on things that are happening, especially in the medical field. But the title of the show, just like I said, is Extreme Weather Change and Pain, how pain could relate to that. We're going to get a chance to know this great physician, research scientist, author, inventor, specialist for acute and chronic pain. Just like I said, Dr. Joseph V. Pergolizzi. We also going to discuss seasonal shifts since they are happening. We just switched from summer to fall, right now. So, and how that could cause pain and cause us to experience certain type of feelings or illness. We're going to discuss the three ways to distinguish pain sparked by hot and cold temperatures that do not require a doctor's visit. And most importantly, we're going to discuss certain pain disorders caused by the shift in temperature. Let me tell you a little bit about this great man, Dr. Paragozi. Uh, he is an international renowned perioperative pain specialist, well versed in multiple issues confronting patients, caregivers in acute and chronic pain. Highly regarded. He lives in Naples, Florida. He's going to tell us a little bit about that. The chairman of the Abstract Poster Selection Committee and PAINWeek and a lot of other different things. I tell you, um, the author or contributed to over 350 articles and books, etc. Well educated, and I tell you what, did his fellowship at John Hopkins University and a couple other universities. But I tell you what, I just want to bring this man on right now. Let's bring the doctor on. How you doing, Doc? How you doing? How you doing?
Very good, James. So good to see you again, and best wishes to your wife as well.
Oh man, I tell you, man, we've been thinking about this show for the longest. I told Michelle, I said, we got to get the doc back on. We got to get him back on. Let's make it happen. And so, hey, we made it happen. So, hey, Doc, can you tell our viewers and our listeners who might have not was present with your last show a little bit more about you? And because
Sure.
you've been a guest on the show and you always bring excitement and knowledge to our viewers and our listeners. Can you
Well,
just
first, I'm very honored and humbled to be on your show, and I think you're just an outstanding man of faith and a veteran, and just a leader. I mean, you lead by example. It's so wonderful when I watch that intro to the show, how all those young people that you're helping and helping guide, and right now they could use that. We're coming off of a horrible pandemic, which has really changed the landscape of how we do things, how our children are being taught in school, and what they're expected to be able to provide into the community. And so, when we think about what we're trying to achieve, and today we're trying to talk a little bit about the relationship to climate change and pain. Um, Before we get into that, I want to just tell the audience a little about myself. I started off as a scientist doing physical chemistry work, which is like a superconductor, super collider work. And then I took that into pharmaceutical development. And while I was developing pharmaceuticals, I said, this may be an opportunity to go a little deeper and take my chemistry and biology and physics and help people as a physician. So I did. And one of the most common reasons why people seek medical care is because of pain. And pain, unfortunately, is omnipresent. It happens at all ages, and it's sometimes very difficult to figure out what's going on with the individual. So today's program, we're going to focus a little bit more on pain during extreme temperature changes. And I'm really excited to have the opportunity to talk to the audience about this. James,
Sorry about that, Doc. I was off into you introducing yourself, and and I forgot to put myself back on the screen. But Doc, can you tell our listeners and our audience what inspired you to specialize in the treatment of patients who are suffering from acute or chronic pain?
Well, it's a great question. I felt that I wanted to be able to use my medical knowledge to help as many people as possible. And pain is the number one reason why people seek medical care across the globe. When acute pain is not adequately addressed, and if the body does not heal properly, it can become chronic pain. And that's almost a life sentence. So I tried to start off by addressing acute pain and mitigating or reducing the potential for it to become chronic. And then for those people who unfortunately suffer from chronic pain, what I try, James, is to improve their functionality, their quality of life. And I do that in a holistic, approach called multimodal pain medicine, which brings in spirituality, which brings in pharmaceuticals, non-pharmaceuticals, interventional programs, nutritional programs, to try to restore the person back to the human being that they are. And I unfortunately cannot remove everybody's pain 100%, particularly if they've had chronic pain in the past for a long time. But we can certainly get them back to a level where they're enjoying their life. And it's having a positive outcome on their family members and the ones who love them too. So I really got into chronic pain because it touches all ages. And it's associated with almost every type of medical discipline, with the exception of pathology. And for those who don't know what that is, that's when you're examining people who have already passed away, their tissues and things like that. So for those in the living, unfortunately, we all have to experience pain. And actually, James, there is a small subgroup of people that genetically do not experience pain. And some people have told me, well, that's great. Wouldn't it be great not to experience any pain? But then think about that. What if you put your hand on a hot stove and you didn't feel pain to withdraw your hand? It would just stay there and burn. Or if you had hurt yourself, like by lifting something, and you had very back pain or injury to a part of your body and you couldn't feel that, that would be problematic too. So pain is like that natural alarm in your house. When it goes off, it's telling you, hey, stop, reset, something's wrong here, and it's a protective. What happens with chronic pain is that after that causative agent, the hand on the stove, the pain from stretching too much, overexerting yourself at a pickup basketball game, right? Once it goes beyond the normal course of healing, it can become chronic. And that's where we run into a lot of problems, this chronification of pain, where all of a sudden things are changed, the way you're perceiving pain. Light touch can be painful. I think you may have heard of conditions like shingles caused by herpes zoster virus, which is a reactivation of chickenpox. And a lot of us had chickenpox before. So it's these type of things. Shingles is very, very painful neuropathic type pain. So as we start to try to figure out pain, the first thing we have to do is talk with our patient. We have to put our hands on our patients. We have to find out what makes the pain better, what makes the pain worse, how's it affecting them on an everyday basis. And all of that excitement is what brought me to pick pain medicine as my chosen field.
Wow. I am so excited to delve off into this and learn a whole lot more about it. We're going to take a station break. But when we come back, I want you to tell our audience what's the difference or definition of chronic and acute pain. So we're going to take a station break. You want to be part of this great conversation with this great doc, 1-866-577-2473, or you can go to the comments and you can ask this great doc any question you want to. It's your life. I'm Dr. James J.C. Cooley. We'll be back shortly after the break.
There's more stories of greatness to help you overcome adversity coming up on It's Your Life with James Cooley.
Hi, I'm Todd Pierick, the producer.
Really get a chance to know who you are. And once you know who you are, you truly know who you are, love who you are. Love who you are. You're a masterpiece. Love who you are. Love who you were born to be. Love me some me. That's what I'm talking about. When you leave high school, you gotta know today or tomorrow, hopefully today, what your plans are. Hopefully, There is no bad decision unless there is no plan. Create, collaborate, commit with confidence. Commit with what? Commit with what? In everything that you do.
Baby boy, a again, sharing his hard-earned lessons to educate, encourage, and enlighten our next generation of leaders and heroes. Get your copy of Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet by James J.C. Cooley, available on Amazon and everywhere books are sold.
FM 96.1 and AM 1170, The Answer.
Life is a series of circles and cycles, phases and stages. These are your experiences that teach you the lessons of life. You can either ignore them or embrace them. Welcome to the James Cooley Show. It's your life. Dr. James Cooley is a motivational speaker, author, military veteran, and founder of the J.C. Cooley Foundation. Dr. Cooley is here to equip you to strive for greatness and overcome adversity. It's time to get equipped today for the challenges of tomorrow. Now, here's the host of It's Your Life, Dr. James Cooley.
Hello, welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's Your Life. And, we are talking about extreme weather that, can cause pain or pain conditions. And we got this great doc. We got Dr. Joseph Pergolizzi that's educating us on what this is and how we can understand that changing weather does sometimes cause pain or cause a condition that we think that we might be experiencing that. And so if you want to be part of this great conversation, that's 1-866-577-2473, or go to the comments, so whichever way you're watching this at, and just ask this great doctor any question that you want to, and I promise I'll make sure that I get it on the screen here, answer. Hey, Doc, now we're talking about extreme weather that could cause pain. First of all, you talked about acute and you talked about chronic. Can you tell our viewers and our listeners what's the difference between acute pain and chronic pain?
That's a great question and very often asked. So acute pain usually is related to a causative type of what we call noxious or stimulant that is present at the time. And when your body senses this, it's almost like the alarm in the house going off. It wants you to take protective measures in order to avoid re-injuring or worsening that injury. And when that noxious stimulant is removed and your body starts to heal a certain amount of time, most doctors are going to say about 4 weeks at most, then the acute pain should go away and normal healing takes place. With chronic pain, something happens. We have a fancy term called neuroplasticity. What we mean there is that maybe there's a rewiring. Something's gone wrong, either in how that pain is getting up to your brain or how your brain is perceiving pain. And this chronification of pain happens over an extended period of time. So if you have pain greater than, let's say, 12 weeks, this is when we start to classify someone with chronic pain. And chronic pain conditions, many individuals are aware of these. Unfortunately, migraine headaches, fibromyalgia, osteoarthritis or rheumatoid arthritis are very common, as well as chronic back pain. What I'm happy to tell you is that the majority of people who experience pain do not go on to have chronic pain. And that's why it's really important when you do experience acute pain that you adequately and appropriately address that and address it in a holistic manner. Good nutrition, doing complementary alternative medicines or natural type of ways, stretching, yoga, massages. Everybody loves massages, right? And then when necessary, starting a regimen of medications. A lot of times we'll start with a topical medication if we're experiencing joint or muscle pain, and then maybe combine that with something that we'll take by mouth or on a patch if we need to have it for a slightly longer amount of time. And we combine these with non-pharmacological strategies, and we use a fancy term called multimodal, different types of modes to address pain. But the biggest thing to realize is that you don't have to live in pain. You don't get a badge of courage or valor by living with pain. And particularly big, strong guys like you, they want to be even stronger and say, I'm going to live with my pain. There's no reason to do that. And I had the real pleasure and opportunity of volunteering my services by helping our servicemen and women and individuals, let's say, in really intense places like Fort Bragg. They'll be doing these airborne ranger things and they'll hurt themselves. And I'll say, wait, you're hurt. You have to take a break. You have to get yourself healed. And that's really important for people to just understand that powering through the pain sometimes is going to be not the right thing to do.
Wow. So, hey, Doc, what medical conditions are mostly associated with, both acute pain and chronic pain?
Well, when you look at acute pain, a lot of times it has to do with a traumatic type injury. You may have hit your knee or your elbow against something, or repetitive use injuries. Playing video games is something that can cause pains in your wrists and your nerves and your tingling in your hands. And then muscle and joint pain seem to be the more common. Now, acute headaches also happen. When we look at chronic pain, migraines are considered a chronic painful condition. People who have diabetes may experience diabetic peripheral neuropathy, painful neuropathy. That's when their hands and feet become very painful. Another type of acute syndrome may be shingles. Shingles happens when individuals who have had chickenpox in the past reactivate that virus, and now the virus acutely affects a certain nerve pattern on your body, and it's a lot of pain. That will resolve with medications. But what can happen is some people, it will go on to cause chronic pain called post-herpetic neuralgia. So there's another example. There are other types of conditions related to your nerves, like those patients who suffer from multiple sclerosis. They can have different types of nerve pain. And then also the osteoarthritis and rheumatoid arthritis and back pain. As I have mentioned before, back pain can come in two forms. Acute back pain, and that's usually going to resolve within about 4 weeks at most. And then chronic back pain, and that is something that is going to keep on hurting the patient beyond 12 weeks.
So I guess back pain, as you put it, I think I got a combination of both because sometimes it's just mild, and other times it's very painful. So I have to go and get these shots in the back, and would you say that's acute pain or chronic pain?
Well, that's a great question. So you can have acute pain on chronic pain, but chronic pain is continuous pain. It can be a dull, aching, persistent type of pain. If it has to involve with the nerve, it may be a loss of sensation or a tingling, burning sensation all the time, like diabetics may experience. So you can have acute on chronic, but what it sounds like to me is that you have an intermittent type of back pain, in the sense that if you do experience acute pain, but you've maybe overexerted yourself, it's going to get to very severe acute pain, and that's when you're going to need that intervention, that injection. But it emphasizes, James, the point that, there are, you want to say 50 shades of pain? And even more so, it's individual from everybody. That's the real big difference about pain. If you have high cholesterol, I can check your cholesterol levels. If you have high blood pressure, I could take your blood pressure and check it. But there when you try to measure pain, there's no objective biomarker. It has a lot to do with the entire person and the whole entire psychosocial element of the person. And that's what attracted me to pain medicine, because it really gives you an opportunity to bond with that person and to educate them so that they understand that it's personalized, and it's truly personalized medicine. And that means you have to have regimens that are tailored to the individual.
Wow. So, hey, Doc, so you chose the title, Extreme Weather, Change, and Pain. Can you tell our viewers and our listeners why you chose this topic, and what's the importance that they need to understand from this topic?
Well, that is a great question. And there actually is a topic that you can look up. It's a meteorology medical terminology. And though we don't have the type of level of evidence that we would to, let's say, treat migraines, we do know that the environment can have an effect on our perception of pain, particularly extremes of weather, very, very cold or very, very hot. And this was a big topic, particularly this summer, because of the heat wave that we experienced throughout the United States, like in your home state of Tennessee, and even in Europe. It was extremely hot weather. And when we combine hot weather with high humidity, that index, the heat index, actually makes you feel even hotter than what the temperature may be. And what we can find in the experiences of patients is that these hot heat indexes are going to trigger certain types of chronic and acute pain conditions. One of the examples could be related to muscle and joint pain, particularly if you're dehydrated. And if you're dehydrated and you've been doing some exercise, you can have buildup of lactic acid in your muscles. You can have more joint pain, more muscle pain. Patients who have multiple sclerosis, when they are experiencing very high temperatures, they can even have a certain type of syndrome where they'll lose vision. We've been told by patients that have migraines that sometimes extreme temperatures in the heat or very cold are going to trigger their migraines. So they're going to have them more severe in pain and more frequent. And then finally, when we look at some nerve conditions, what we find is that in the neuropathic pain conditions, sometimes when we're exposed to very high temperatures or very low temperatures, they're going to experience more pain in their hands and feet or in their neck. So there are some reasons for this. Now, in the cold, we believe it has to do with barometric pressure. And again, when we look at some of these indicators, you'll hear that when the barometer drops in the winter, women go into child labor and give birth. So the same type of anecdotal information exists when it comes to pain.
Wow. I can't wait. We got to take a station break, but we're going to come back and we're going to pick it up from that question right there, that answer that you was just talking about. So if you want to be part of this great conversation, I tell you, all you do is just go to the comment section or wherever you're watching this at, or just pick up the phone and dial 1-866-577-2473. It's your life. We'll be back shortly with this great talk after the break. So let's go.
Help you overcome adversity. Coming up on It's Your Life with James Cooley.
And I can't get rid of this feeling.
founder and CEO of the J.C. Cooley Foundation, Options, Opportunities, Lasting Choice Program. Our primary mission is to help build a foundation of our youth and young adults and communities. And we encourage everyone to dream big, think big, and be big at everything you do. And the way that you do that is, first of all, you got to believe in yourself. You have to believe in yourself. You have to know that you are here for a purpose. You also have to be able to step out your comfort zone and do things that you probably didn't think that you can do.
On smart speakers and Odyssey.com.
Life is a series of circles and cycles, phases and stages. These are your experiences that teach you the lessons of life. You can either ignore them or embrace them. Welcome to the James Cooley Show. It's your life. Dr. James Cooley is a motivational speaker, author, military veteran, and founder of the J.C. Cooley Foundation. Dr. Cooley is here to equip you to strive for greatness and overcome adversity. It's time to get equipped today for the challenges of tomorrow. Now, here's the host of It's Your Life, Dr. James Cooley.
Hello, welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's your life, and I tell you, we're talking about extreme weather change that could cause pain, and we got my absolutely fantastic, wonderful guest here. You know, we got Dr. Pergolizzi, and I tell you, he just educating us on this topic, and I want to pick it up where we just left off at. But if you want to be part of this conversation, pick up the phone 1-866-577-2473, or just go to the comments and just ask this great doctor any question you want to. Hey, so Doc, so you were talking about how does hot and cold weather intensify someone's pain? You know, so my question to you is, who is mostly at risk or affected by the weather changes?
Again, interesting question. And when you look at it, it would appear that people of extreme ages are the ones that are going to have more difficulty with extremes in temperature. So older patients and very young patients. This is particularly true when we look at areas like heat stroke, or when you're out in the heat too long and you may get dehydrated. As a matter of fact, if you're a parent of an infant that has experienced overheating or what we call heat stroke, and you bring the child home and you've cooled them down, it's still recommended that you do bring them to the pediatrician, whether or not the symptoms are gone or not. And the same with older patients. Now, it's very tough to define the word older when you live in Naples, Florida, like I do. But we would generally say that individuals that are up there in age, again, these are the ones who just have to be a little more concerned in the very cold temperatures, particularly when it comes to their nerves and their joints, and also in the higher extremes of temperatures, particularly if it involves dehydration, because these are the individuals that are going to just take longer to get back in to the normal swing of things. And part of this is because as we age, beyond the age of 40, we start to lose what's known as physiological reserve. It's sort of that backup that our body has, the ability to deal with extra burdens that maybe the environment or disease states thrust upon us. So as that physiological reserve starts to drop, that sort of backup reserve that we have, we become more vulnerable. The same thing as we're younger, because we're not fully developed, we have more of a chance of being affected by environmental aspects. And actually, James, you know, there is a whole science. It's not as well defined as, let's say, medical school, but there is a science called human biometeorology. And what this tries to do is it tries to assess the impact of the atmosphere and the environment on different things that we experience as human beings.
Wow. You know, so, hey Doc, what are 3 ways to alleviate pain brought by hot weather and 3 ways to alleviate pain brought by cold weather?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. When we think about cold weather, what might be happening there, particularly, let's say, particularly joint and muscle pain, is there may be some expansion in that area of the body, and this causes an increase in pain and discomfort. So, in the cold, what we want to try to do is go from the cold to the warm. And that may include adding additional clothing. It may be suggested to take things like warm showers, etc. Wear wool type of socks in your boots if you're walking around in the snow. You want to also stay active. Move those muscles, get them going. That's very important. Now, things that you may be able to take also include, in this case, caffeine or spices. People will take chili peppers sometimes or capsaicin-related products, and they can help you. Herbal teas that are warm are also another idea. Topical pain medications are a good idea, but one thing I want to caution people on is if you're going to use, let's say, a heating pad or something that is going to be placed on your skin, remember that your skin is an organ. And if you put something hot on it, it expands the pores in your skin, and that can make more medication go in than we normally would like to. So just be careful if you're going to be using heating pads in combination with any type of topical medications. That's really important. Now, if we switch to the heat, again, dehydration is one of the big reasons why you're going to have muscle pain and aches. And what we look here, a couple things you can do is move from the sun to the shade. You can wear breathable clothing. That's really important. Lightweight type of breathable clothing. Carry a water bottle around with you. Try not to be dehydrated. What that also means is, laying off the coffee and maybe the alcohol. That's a little tough if you come from a cruise. If you're on the cruise, you're enjoying yourself. It's hot out there and you want a nice drink by the pool, but it will cause confounding dehydration. So you may want to limit that. And then finally, if you are experiencing, let's say, pain in your joints, your muscles, don't forget to put on your topical pain medication, let it absorb into the skin, and then the all-important sunscreen on top of that. That's really important as well.
Wow. So Doc, a case in point, Michelle and I, we live in Texas and we live in California, so we kind of split time. Can a quick change in environment, case in point, it's kind of chilly a little bit in Texas right now, and I'll be heading back to California next week. And a quick change in environment, can that cause or increase or decrease in pain?
Very interesting. Again, when we go back to that concept of physiological reserve, when you start to change altitude, and you may remember this from the days of serving our country, if you were on an aircraft carrier and I took you from sea level up to the mountains, let's say in Afghanistan, and dropped you off, you could have issues, right, with altitude sickness that can affect your brain and your lungs. Sometimes it's very bad for our service people. But the question you're asking is very interesting. And again, we don't have specific biomarkers that tell us this, but we do know anecdotally from what patients will complain of. When you go from a very hot climate, let's say from Arizona, and then you go skiing in Colorado, and it's colder there and it's up high, these individuals are going to complain of more tiredness, dizziness, pain and lethargy, and also swelling of their joints. So there are going to be some impacts when you have a quick period from going from one extreme of temperature to the next, because your body has to adapt to it.
Wow.
If you think about it, James, when we were, maybe a little more of the hunter-gatherer mode as humans, we probably weren't really walking from Phoenix, Arizona to Vail, Colorado, all in the same day. So we have to get through that adaptation process, and that's important.
Well, so Doc, a lot of times when we're experiencing these type of changes, we want to revert to some type of pain medicine, tropical pain medicine relievers, or the pill. I mean, do the tropical pain relievers, which one works better, or what would you recommend? The pill or the tropical pain relief?
Sure. Well, I did a survey at the largest pain conference for pain practitioners about a year and a half ago. And that survey showed that pain medicine physicians like myself, when they are dealing particularly with musculoskeletal pain, where it's at the surface of the joint, your muscle area, then they prefer topical type of applications compared to oral applications. And there's a couple reasons why. When you put something on the area that hurts, it usually is going to have a faster onset of action than if you have to take it by mouth. When you take it by mouth, it's got to be digested and absorbed in your body, and then it affects your whole entire body. And that can have what we call off-target effects. An off-target effect, most people call a side effect. Right? Because look, we're looking for pain relief, but if we have something else like nausea and vomiting or blurred vision, that's an off-target effect. And what we know with topical delivered products is that if they really are topical, that means they stay in the skin, James. If they're transdermal, then we're using the skin to get the drug into the body. And sometimes we do that because some medications that we take by mouth go into your system and they get broken down by, let's say, your liver. And when they get broken down by your liver, they might not be as effective. So sometimes we want to use the skin to get the medication in. We do the same thing when we do intranasal, if we put something in your nose, right? Or underneath your tongue. So we use the skin in different ways. So skin does matter. And when we look at topical agents, they're meant to stay at the area in the skin, not really be absorbed in the blood. They usually work faster than oral medications, and you usually can redose them quicker. So let's say you took something for that elbow pain and you took it by mouth, you may have to wait 4 to 6 hours before you can take the next dose, where with topical agents, you usually can put them on a little longer. So those are some of the benefits that differentiate between when you're taking a pill or when you're taking something topical. And as far as the different types go, well, there are those known agents which we believe have repetitive data to show they work. Menthol is one of those. The question is, well, what's the right concentration of menthol should I be using? The answer is, we're not really sure. I've always adopted the position that less is best, providing it works. And so I actually created a formula using natural compound, a natural oil, with menthol, combined the two of them, and I was able to use a very low dose of menthol and still obtain the same type of pain relief that you might with a higher dose. So menthol is one. Capsaicin, these are chili peppers, and capsaicin can be applied topically. Some people can get irritation because
Hey, Doc, hold that thought. Hold that thought. We're gonna pick it up when we come back from the break. We got to take a station break right now. So hold that thought, because it's important. So I tell you, we're gonna take a station break. If you want to be part of this great conversation, 1-866-577-2473, or go to wherever you are listening or watching this show at, and just put it in the comment section. It's your life. We'll be back with Dr. Pergolizzi shortly after the break.
There's more stories of greatness to help you overcome adversity. Coming up on It's Your Life with James Cooley. The JC...
Noah Dingley here, producer of The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life. And the new audio version of James' book, Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet, is a must-have. James shares his true life story of struggle and success in America. It's both a cautionary tale and a roadmap to achieving the American dream. Get the new audio version of Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet by James Cooley on Amazon.com or wherever audiobooks are sold.
It's Your Life. Dr. James Cooley is a motivational speaker, author, military veteran, and founder of the J.C. Cooley Foundation. Dr. Cooley is here to equip you to strive for greatness and overcome adversity. It's time to get equipped today for the challenges of tomorrow. Now, here's the host of It's Your Life, Dr. James Cooley.
Hello, welcome back to the James Cooley Show, It's Your Life, and I got this absolutely fantastic guest, Dr. Pergolizzi, and he is talking about pain, extreme weather, how that can cause pain. And if you want to be part of the conversation, not too late. Why don't you pick up the phone, 1-866-577-2473, or go to the comments and ask the great doc any question you want to. Doc, you was telling us about this remedy that you had put together that might help relieve pain. Can you pick it up from that?
Yeah, sure. So the commercial name of it is called Instaflex Topical, and it can be found at healthydirections.com. And what I tried to do is address the desires of my patients. They wanted something natural, and they wanted to combine with something that they knew historically worked. So we took a natural oxygenated oil and combined it with a low dose of menthol. And what we find is that we have a nice ability to address musculoskeletal type pain, a nice fragrance. It smells a little like tangerines. There are other types of topicals. Arnica is another homeopathic topical that people very commonly use, James, as well as capsaicin, which is chili peppers. The only problem with capsaicin is some people may get more irritation on the skin if the concentrations are very high.
Wow. And so, Doc, one of the things we haven't talked about in this topic is, a person experiencing low or hot pain due to temperature changes. When should that person decide to, okay, I need to go see a doctor?
Yeah, very, very smart question, James, as always. And thank you for that. So you should seek medical care if the pain continues on or gets worse, if there is swelling or irritation at the site, if the pain starts to affect other parts of your body, meaning more systemic, particularly if it's a musculoskeletal type pain. These are the times that you really want to go and seek medical care. It's really important, particularly when we look at cold-related pains, in the sense if you have pain in your fingers or your toes because they've been exposed to, let's say, snow or ice for a period of time, you want to go and seek medical care there as well. And if you have a child or an infant that has experienced either extremes in heat or in cold temperature, even if the symptoms look like they've resolved, it's probably a smart idea to let a doctor lay some hands on that child.
Well, hey, Doc, so does exercising, can that help people who are suffering with these type of chronic or acute pain? If so, is that a temporary fix, or is something that I think I know the answer, but that's something that they probably need to continue to do?
Yeah, a lot of times when people hurt their, let's say, their back, one thing that I do suggest is, take it easy right away. Okay, you have to deal with the pain appropriately. So a little bit of rest, but you don't want to be sitting in bed for many days because that's only going to make the pain worse. And that's really a 180-degree turnaround from 25, 30 years ago. We used to think that you stay in bed and you'll get better. We actually found that you need to move around. You need to get mobile again. Sometimes this can be accomplished with the help of a physical therapist or even a chiropractor. They may be able to help you get over that acute pain, particularly if it's moderate to severe. That in combination with things like massage therapy, and topical pain relievers. These all can be very helpful. Once we start to get beyond that acute exacerbated pain, then we have to realize, particularly if it's back pain, that we probably need to be having a long-term plan. And there's nothing better than building up your core muscles, right? So doing some exercises that will help with your core muscles. I also encourage individuals to try Pilates or yoga. These are also very helpful just to build the overall balance and muscle tone and get your body back in harmony.
Wow. Doc, you mentioned we didn't talk about this that much, but patient or physician relationship as relate to coming up with the right plan, because you just mentioned plan. How important is that?
It's very important to have a personalized plan because, as I mentioned before, there are 50 shades of pain and everyone is very different. Every person is different. And though common things happen commonly, that does not necessarily mean that everybody experiences pain the same way. So it is important that first you recognize you're in pain and that your body is telling you whatever you're doing, probably you should stop and really reassess what's going on. And then you always want to try the simple things at home: hot compresses, cold ice, so the heat and ice combination, stretching, sleep. Sleep is very important too. A lot of people discount that, but if you don't sleep well, you're probably not going to be able to heal properly. But that's the problem. A lot of times you're in so much pain that you can't even sleep. We've all been there, I think. And this is that whole balance. So there's some little tricks I could tell you. I learned one from my friend, Dr. Stephen Sinatra, who unfortunately recently passed. But, Stephen was a world-renowned cardiologist. However, he taught me about a thing called grounding, James, where you just take your socks and your shoes off and dig your feet into the earth, particularly down here in Florida in the sand, and reconnect. This grounding. I think part of it is just you owning your pain. And when you own it and you understand how it affects you, what your limitations are, what makes it worse, what makes it better, then you become the best doctor for yourself. And then patients can come to health providers, and there are many different types of health providers, to seek additional knowledge so that they better can help manage themselves. And it's only when we get to those type of what we call yellow flags or red flags that you need to come and see a pain specialist. Another example to lead off of what we said before the break: if you have pain and you're starting to get stiffness and swelling and irritation in that area, let's say in your neck, you really should think about seeing a doctor. But majority of the acute pain goes away by itself, but you need to be aggressive and provide adequate pain relief strategies, whether pharmaceutical or not, to get over that pain.
Wow. So, Doc, we come down to about the last 3.5 minutes of the show now. Now, you do so many writings and publish journals and a lot of other things, books. Do you have any upcoming books or anything that you're working on right now that you might want to share with us?
Well, thank you, James. And again, a big honor to hear from someone with your vast pedigree. And I'm humbled. I'm working with my colleague, Dr. Aaron Tabor, with a faith-based type of pain healing. I believe spiritual healing is very important, particularly when you think about how pain doesn't just affect you, but everyone around you, the people who love you. So I'm working on a book there. And also another one that I've been trying to work on is called Pain Pathways, Pergolizzi Pain Pathways. And it sort of emphasizes that idea that it's very personalized and it's a journey, particularly for the chronic pain patient. The chronic pain patient, unfortunately, James, has to really accept the fact that if you have chronic pain, you're probably not going to just wipe it off the face of the earth. You're going to have to function better, and you're going to have to look for improvements in quality of life and daily activities. And that really becomes your goal. So that's what I've been working on lately. And a couple new drugs too.
Hey Doc, how can our listeners and our viewers contact you if they want to enlist your services or just learn a lot more? Or how can they get your writings, your books? How can they do all of these great things?
Certainly. Well, they can always Google or go to what's called PubMed. You also can go to healthydirections.com. And I have a website, drpergolizzi.com. And those are all areas where you could look. And I'm always here as a resource to you and your audience, James. I am so excited every time. The only shortfall is I didn't get to say hello to your wife, but please do that for me. And I invite both of you down to Naples. We're recovering here after Hurricane Ian, but please, everybody, continue to think about us and keep us in your prayers.
Hey, we might take you up on that one of these days, Doc.
I'm looking forward to it, James.
Last minute or so, can you give us 3 takeaways, our listeners, our viewers, 3 takeaways that they should be focused on from this great conversation we just had? 30 seconds or less.
Sure, 30 seconds. Pain is personalized. Everybody experiences pain sometime in their life. If you don't address it properly, it can turn into chronic pain. And the environment can have an effect. Extremes in temperature, particularly for those who are extremes of age, have to be very careful.
Wow. Hey, Doc, I want to thank you so much for taking time to come on the James Cooley Show with your life. You always welcome back anytime, Doc. Keep educating us, enlightening us with all of this great information that we all need. So thank you so much. I'd like to thank my great executive producer and co-host, Michelle Cooley, for putting all of these things together. I'd like to thank my producers at KCBQ, Todd, Pirate. Most importantly, I'd like to thank our viewers and our listeners for taking the time to tune into the James Cooley Show. It's your life. Remember, always dream big, think big, and be big at everything you do. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place. It's your life.